He's old enough to fall in love, but do we only take the pain?
Just gonna do a quick intro. Can you just say your name and what you do in the band, and if you like, you do a funny accent.
You're throwing him off.
Oh no! I'm gonna just speak normally for now. I'll let Malcolm do the accenting. I'm Parker Bosley from the Gay 90s. I play guitar and I sing.
And I'm Malcolm from the Gay 90s, and I play guitar.
Crazy accent.
No, I play drums.
Bruce Langham, keys.
I'm Daniel Knowlton. I play bass and sing harmonies.
So those are some crazy accents.
I don't buy it for a minute.
Alright, so I know that you've done some work in Hot Hot Heat and Fake Shark Real Zombies, so I was wondering, what have you taken from your experience in those bands?
With Hot Out Heat, I think if we're to speak earnestly, I've taken maybe some work ethic from their camp. I like the way that Steve is a hard worker. With Fake Shark, I had to forget a bunch of things.
Yeah, I kind of had to unlearn. But also with Fake Shark, there's a stage presence that
That's
Fake Shark
very
has that I definitely want to keep as well. What about
It still has. Kevin's sick.
Yeah, totally. What about from your guys' past bands? Daniel played in a band called Good News, and Bruce in a band called Red Cedar.
Red Cedar, yeah, keeping a set list interesting, cohesive, presenting something like a single unit on a bunch of songs.
I learned from playing in the Good News that I had to get a lot better at playing bass guitar. And so joining these guys, I had to learn quickly because they're all so talented.
So you guys were in the Peak Performance last year, Peak Performance Project. What did you, how did you benefit from that experience?
We met Brent Bain through that experience. And he works at Factor and is starting a production management company. And he's a really cool dude. I think that's the best thing that we got out of it.
Yeah. Relationships. It's like a friendship relationship camp, and it's a really good way to actually meet people from radio and people who are maybe a little bit out of your reach to a certain extent, and it kind of forces them to know who you are and to like you. And well, I don't know if it forces them to like
To get to know you.
Get to know you, yeah.
We learned a lot about business and also, again, work ethic.
That too.
So you guys played with Flandia, I don't know if I'm saying that right, in September. You guys played at the end, so did you guys get a chance to see big other bands?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of shows.
yeah. I saw, I think all of us except for Daniel were there for Hawksley Workman's solo set. Well, it was him and a pianist,
Todd
Lonely.
Yeah.
And that nearly brought me to tears. It was so phenomenally passionate, and yet with that minimalist instrumentation, they filled the room. That was
It was spiritual.
it was spiritual. Yeah.
I really liked DFA. I liked it's the drummer Sebastian. I definitely liked the way that he talked to the audience. He was hilarious.
He was awesome.
He was such a dick
He
to
was
everyone,
so
but in the right way. It was pretty good, and they're sick.
Yeah.
They have sick players.
So that was kind of the one show besides this one that people paid for to see it at. So do you guys prefer playing free shows to people paying to see you guys?
I mean, I like that if it's free, it's easier to bring people in. But I mean, that's almost like a lazy way about it. I feel like people should pay for shows just because it's really one of the last guaranteed ways for musicians to even make money, have any sort of income, especially if you're on the road. So, I mean, I respect the idea of people at least donating something. You know what I mean? Because I would do the same for them. But not for my friends' bands. I better be on the list.
The thing that I like about the shows where anybody can kind of come in, for example, Castellano Festival, the all ages aspect of the show is great because you get a full spectrum of people, old folks and young folks.
Like that old lady who's breakdancing in front.
She wanted to take you back to the band.
She was on something.
She was a catch.
She did a head spin on the asphalt in front of us. It was crazy. And she must have been 60, 50.
Yeah, I feel like that's the kind of gems you find at a free show.
Yeah, that's the demographic.
Yeah. It's like even a $1 show probably would have weeded her out.
Too rich for my blood.
So I saw on your website, I think it was back in August, that you guys were in the studio recording. So what's that process like? Are you guys like almost done? Like still recording still?
We're almost done. We've got one last batch of songs that we're actually still kind of writing and working on. We've just been, because we're just working with so many different, well, not so many different people, but busy people, we have to kind of do it in batches. So we're working with Scott Turnin and Steve Bays, and they're both super busy. So we've done 7 songs, I guess, now.
Yeah,
6
it's
7
kind of a
songs.
cool approach to a record though, because oftentimes, typically you'll go in and you'll record 10 or 12 songs at once. And they all have a very unified sound, all the drum tones, all the guitar tones, the vibe in general. It's very similar. This way, doing it in a few different batches, it's kind of this weird pastiche of different feelings.
It feels like there's this arc happening naturally, which is kind of cool too. It's so cohesive, but they're definitely different. each
Yeah,
batch.
yeah, and the songwriting too. It's like we wrote some of these songs over a year ago, and then some songs, and like when we go back in and finish this off, there'll be songs on there that we wrote
2 years ago. One of them, Good News.
Yeah,
Or
some are
Good
like
Luck,
2
Good
years,
News,
but then there'll
Good
be some
Times.
songs that will be
Haven't
like
been
2
written
weeks old. Yeah, yeah. So it's like there'll be an interesting, I don't know, an interesting retrospective look of what we were into as musicians over the last couple of years. And yeah, so
Full
it's
Spectrum.
yeah, Phil Spector.
Phil Spector. That's a really good name for the album.
There you
You should call it Phil Spector.
All right. So as part of your peak performance project, you guys did a choose your own video.
Choose your own adventure video.
Choose your own adventure. Thank you. So if you had to pick your own adventure in Vancouver, who would you bring and what would you do?
Oh man,
You guys can do your own.
I'd grab this guy and take a canoe somewhere.
And a lot of weed.
Yeah.
We're going canoeing.
Yeah.
Some sticky icky.
I'd take Prince to the arcade on Granville Street.
No, not as cool as a canoe.
I would take Parker back to the intro videos that we did when I slapped him in the face and he punched me in the dick. So I could slap him in the face harder.
He slapped me pretty hard. Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
All right. You guys can describe yourself as an ice cream flavor. What would you be?
As a band or individuals?
You can pick an ice cream
Ooh.
flavor.
I'm mint chocolate.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That does make sense. I'd like to consider myself like a green tea sorbet, but I don't know if that's true.
You're more of a Rocky Road.
Yeah.
You guys have like a final message for all your fans or anybody
Oh, it's
watching
already
this
over?
video?
Already have a
That's
question?
my last question.
We're just getting started
If
here.
you were an ice cream flavor, what would you be?
I don't know, like something that hasn't even been invented yet.
Ugh.
Strawberry.
I was gonna say strawberry though. You seem
I'm a
strawberry.
strawberry.
Yeah.
But I mean, hasn't every single ice cream flavor been invented? They must. Like, is there really anything?
We gotta be working on something.
There's no elevator button yet.
One that tastes like the elevator bus?
Elevator button.
We should be the tester for that.
Yeah. Or a Chinatown puddle.
Oh, Chinatown puddle.
That's pretty good. This beer is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something to tell them.
What was the last question?
Just the last message, that kind of sums it up. So thanks you guys, that was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys. That was fun.
Thanks, you guys.
We'll be on the road with Sid New York in January, touring Canada, and our album you can expect to drop shortly, February, March, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think and we'll have a 7-inch out before that.
In January with 2
January.
singles being released to radio. So Tamara Sanders, if you're watching this, play our goddamn song.
Malcolm's gonna have his 7-inch out.
Malcolm Pipping is 7.